little 60 piece. That's only the neck though.
Last night a bitch nigga shot a real nigga, but we don't make no diss records, we just deal with it. Plus I be going through a lot, I never talk about it, and they using nigga songs in court, so I can't talk about it. Rap niggas think I'm dumb, like I don't see the play. I let them think they got the ups, then get them out the way. On FaceTime, my brother telling me he shot my mama, telling me to chill, but I know he seen that nigga face. But that's enough about that part. Talking about respect, well it's a must about that part. Playing with my money, well then it's up about that part. Cause when it's time to play ball, don't give a fuck about that part. They know I'm that nigga when they see me. Her man crush been a hater and her little brother won't beat me. Her friend been on my dick since I was passing out CDs. Her baby daddy a mark and her boyfriend probably a weenie. 3,300 on my book bag. Let some niggas in the past, but I don't look back. Shit kinda different, I ain't the man that I was. I seen death in too many forms and I ain't never really shook that. Don't let them rock you to sleep, true colors better believe them. I know that God got me, but I be riding with my reaper. Praying with my kids and even then I got my heater. And I be stepping so hard, as hoes in $1,000 sneakers. Take your bitch when I meet her and you ain't seen her in about 3 days. Knew I was a threat, I passed that stick like a relay. Spin it back to back, it's like a motherfucking replay. Turn your son into a bitch when I shoot, I think I'm D-Wade. Told him I'm a savage, if I want it, I'ma have it. Playing with my lettuce, cook your head like a cabbage. Tell them that I'm rich and I'm solid, that's the advantage. Bitch, bad kids, fresh little nigga, you can't stand it. Tell them big checks, yardsticks, not a ruler. All I smoke is ops and I don't never smoke a hookah. Looking for a blessing that's worth it, Jesus and Judas. Tell them niggas game 6, my whole team full of shooters. I slide on a nigga like a motherfucking flip-flop. Pressure on your homie and I promise he a flip-flop. Talking that wooty-woo, something. I know the police listen, so I ain't really saying nothing. I know these niggas envy, they can't manage how they feel. Jealousy's for bitches, you niggas pussy for real. A nigga get the drop and he happen to shoot. First we heal up and get back, we ain't going on the shirt, I swear to God, nigga.
That wooty-woo, something. I know the police listening, so I ain't saying nothing. Talking that wooty-woo, something. Nigga, cock back and aim and leave you bleeding where you running, swear to God, nigga.
What's the deal, y'all? Rich Sharper tapping in TNN Trap News Network. Back in the same, like cook, cracking the same here at TNN Trap News Network. It's that good news you can use, that good knowledge. You ain't finna get nobody's college, big dog. I am out here in the field doing my due diligence, my 1-2 step like Sierra, getting ready to tap in with this DJ Drama Generation Now event. But before we do, we gotta give y'all some news y'all can use, some knowledge. I ain't finna get nobody's college, big dog. So tap in with the tap in, hit that notification bell, hit all, stay tapped in for the latest and the greatest, everything we got going on here at TNN Trap News Network. And we would love for y'all to become a part of this Trap News Network family. Hit us up on Instagram, TRAP, NEWS, Trap News Network. Become a part of this Trap News Network family. Become a part of this Rich Sharper Mafia potentially paid position. Could be yours. So let me know something, man. We finna get into this, man. Trap Lord Ross versus Point and Shoot. The issue we did not see coming. Let's see what's going on with Point and Shoot and Trap Lord Ross. Let's get into it. Let's go.
Talk to you guys about British YouTuber Trap Lord Ross because he is completely out of control. He's a total weirdo and a goof. And I think he clearly has an agenda against the people that he covers in his videos. So for those who don't know who Trap Lord Ross is a dorky British true crime YouTuber that got famous for making a 3-hour YouTube video calling King Von from Chicago a serial killer. What? And I'm here to tell you guys that King Von was not a serial killer and that this is all just a marketing scheme to get views and attention, and you're going to see exactly what I mean. So this is going to be the first clip. This is Trap Lord Ross in his famous YouTube video about King Von, where he accuses King Von of being a serial killer. Now, I want you guys to listen to why Trap Lord Ross is spewing this disinformation. Listen to this.
Now, the FBI defines a serial killer as a person who kills over 3 people with time spans in between them of more than a month. Furthermore, serial killers tend to have an element of psychological gratification, which plays a role in the motive for their murders. The FBI also state that a serial killer might seek various kinds of gratification through their killings, such as anger, thrill-seeking, financial gain, or simply for attention. I personally believe that over the course of his career, King Von demonstrated all of these characteristics and can indeed be classified as a serial killer.
Okay, so here's what's going on. So back in the early 20s, serial killer documentaries were extremely popular. There were tons of documentaries coming out about the infamous psycho killers like Dahmer and Gacy and Rader. And I'm sure everyone remembers that Dahmer series on Netflix and how huge that was and how everyone wouldn't shut the fuck up about it. Well, this was the #1 genre, I think. The serial killer genre was huge. And so what I think happened was I think Trap Lord Ross was very aware of this surge in popularity of this specific genre, so he decided to make a serial killer documentary of his own.
What?
And so what I think he did was he intentionally crossed over the serial killer true crime genre with the drill rap genre, knowing that true crime was heavily trending. And he was also fully aware that King Von himself was heavily trending for having just been disallowed as one of the most popular artists in the country. So he's like, oh man, if I could just get King Von to be a serial killer, then I could just really tap into the algorithm. You know, this was intentional, I think. And so what he did was he used this generic FBI definition of a serial killer to try and paint King Von as like the same type of serial killer as like the Zodiac or Dahmer or Gacy, because he wanted his video to be recommended to people who consume a lot of true crime. He's manipulating the algorithm so that his video not only appears in hip hop fans' algorithms, but also in the algorithms of people who consume a lot of true crime, which is a lot of people. And I want to be clear that this is not a documentary. This is simply an idiotic, opinion-based, argumentative essay. And we know this from the provided thesis statement, which is completely 100% Trap Lore Ross's opinion.
I personally believe that over the course of his career, King Von demonstrated all of these characteristics and can indeed be classified as a serial killer.
So the goal of this video is to convince the audience that King Von's a serial killer. It's not to present facts to the audience and allow the audience to decide for themselves, which would be an actual documentary. Now,
I didn't know that the King Von documentary had caused such a stir, nor did I know that it did 16 million views. But I can understand what Point and Shoot is saying, because I used to watch true crime documentaries with my grandmother when I was younger, you know what I'm saying? And they were extremely popular. I'm sure like if you're all from a certain generation, we all kind of watch those documentaries. But, you know, grandmothers, grandfathers, and things like that. But when it's all said and done, you need a lighter, fool?
Nah, I'm just making sure this is
when it's all said and done, to call King Von a serial killer, that's a stretch, bro. Like, what? Like, I mean, did he have things that he did in the streets that were probably not to the benefit of society? For sure. Are we, you know, highlighting and glorifying the things that he did in the streets? Of course not. But to be like, oh, he's a serial killer and all that kind of stuff, and to put that type of jacket on him and all that because you're just, like you said, just trying to do views. If you presented it as this is my opinion, then I could definitely understand, you know, a little bit more. But to make it as if he's an actual serial killer is absolutely barnacles, because you're putting King Von literally in the same retrospect as you would put like a Ted Bundy or a Jeffrey Dahmer or something like that. Like, what the hell? And then here's the thing too, when it comes to Trap Lore Ross and looking at this situation, I'm not too interested or too knowledgeable on Trap Lore Ross, and I can only say this based off what I've seen on him. But he's just a white boy trying to make some money off some niggas. That's all he is. He's cool with the culture until the culture no longer benefits him, like 1090 Jake, and he's gonna throw it away and then be done with it. And I see all these black people pandering to Trap Lore Ross for his approval and all that. He don't respect your black ass. But we're gonna jump back into this content and see what's going on.
Convince the audience that King Von's a serial killer. It's not to present facts to the audience and allow the audience to decide for themselves, which would be an actual documentary. Now, at the beginning of his video, he convinces his audience that King Von falls under this generic FBI definition of what a serial killer is.
Now, the FBI defines a serial killer as a person who kills over 3 people with time spans in between them of more than a month. Furthermore, serial killers tend to have an element of psychological gratification, which plays a role in the motive for their murders. The FBI also state that a serial killer might seek various kinds of gratification through their killings, such as anger, thrill-seeking, financial gain, or simply for attention.
So what Trap Lore Ross is doing here is he's trying to apply credibility to his nonsense claim that King Von was a serial killer by stating that he clearly falls under this generic FBI definition of what a serial killer is. The only problem is that Trap Lore Ross doesn't do actual research, and so he doesn't understand that the FBI never intended for this quote-unquote definition to be used as a generic definition for serial killers. Now, I want to present this. This is actual literature from the U.S. Department of Justice Federal Bureau of Investigation. What? So this is a serial killer symposium. This is actual real research, and I want to show you what they say about the definition. And this is so interesting. So it says, although federal law provides a definition of serial murder, it is limited in its application. The purpose of this definition was to set forth criteria establishing when the FBI could assist local law enforcement agencies with their investigation of serial murder cases. It was not intended to be a generic definition for serial murder. What? So this is really misleading for Trap Lore Ross to offer this as like a cut and dry definition as to what a serial killer is. It's a vague description, and it's not cut and dry at all. And that's why Trapler Ross is very careful. And he says, man, if he didn't enjoy the killings, if he didn't tweet about it, if he didn't, he says that King Von is a serial killer because he seemed to enjoy doing it.
I feel like the way Von carried himself, the way that he communicated these murders to the public through his music, and he got charged up off of that. I think these are the elements that make him like a serial killer, like the Zodiac killer, sending these letters out to try and getting some excitement, like wanting to be caught. And I think
so the FBI Serial Killer Symposium says that that's a common myth that Trapler Ross is saying here, that serial killers want to be caught. They do not want to be caught.
Some excitement, like wanting to be caught. And I think these are the elements that, just to me, that made me feel like he ticked those requirements to the max.
Okay, so these quote-unquote requirements that he's talking about were on Wikipedia, and it says typically this, typically that. It's not a generic definition. There is no definition of a serial killer. They're all different. No two serial killers are the same. That's why it's so complicated. That's why we know very little about them. And that's why they're so frightening. And that's why they're so interesting to people, is because we don't understand why they're killing people. The killers themselves can't clearly explain why they kill people. They're psychotic. They're serial killers. But we do, however, understand very clearly why gang members kill rival gang members. It's because they're in a gang. What? And it's a vendetta. They're getting revenge on each other. They're fighting over corners. It's very easy to understand why they do it, because they're not serial killers, okay? So in this next clip, Traplore Ross is going to idiotically suggest that the motive behind King Von's alleged killings was that he wanted to tweet about it, and that's it.
What? And I'm sitting here with my nigga D Weezy in the cut, man. He listening to this King Von Traplore Ross point and shoot. Bro is in all agreement. So he knows nothing. My real friends know nothing about this YouTube space. And they just see me getting into it with ninjas. And they're not really 100% sure why. They just know that if they see him, they're going to smack the SHIT out of him because they got static with the homie. Pretty much.
Facts.
Yeah, like, that's pretty much it. They really have no idea. The Flacos, the Lushes, they don't know nothing about this. So this is his introduction to point and shoot and to Traplore Ross. So point and shoot is a dude narrating it, and Traplore Ross is a British dude. What do you think about the dude, Traplore Ross?
Shit, he don't know shit about the U.S. He in the U.K. He don't know nothing about the laws. He just trying to get money off niggas.
So for somebody who's never been introduced to Traplore Ross to see what point and shoot is breaking down in such an elegant level, it's pretty easy to see that Traplore Ross is just on flu, flammery, skullduggery, and larceny. You feel me? Like, would you say bros are flu flammies?
Man, all that.
For sure. And like you said, you just trying to get some money off niggas, because to paint King Von off of as a serial killer because of what you think, well, I just feel like, come on, bro. You can't pay no bills with no feelings. And then you sit around in black culture and specifically gang drill culture, all that kind of stuff, and profit off of it. But here you are making a fallen legend look like Jeffrey Dahmer. Like, how would you compare him to the Zodiac killer? Like, bro, you tripping. But let's let Point and Shoot go ahead and finish this off, man.
Never started rapping and started teasing the world, trying to let everyone know that he killed these people. I wouldn't say he's a serial killer. I would, you'd say he's a gang assassin, he's a hitman, he's a gangbanger. But it was the way that he got so much gratification out of letting the world know.
So he's now suggesting that King Von's motive for killing people was that he wanted to tweet about it and seek attention from it. So he's going out looking for enemies to kill so that he can tweet about it. That's what Traplore Ross is suggesting here. The only problem with that is that King Von was obviously seeking revenge and targeting specific rival gang members in a get-even type situation. This wasn't motivated by he needs attention for killing people. That's not what this is. Now, I'm not saying that no serial killer could ever be motivated by revenge. I'm not saying that at all, because any serial killer can be motivated by anything. It's not a cut and dried generic definition, and there may very well be a serial killer in existence that was motivated by revenge, but that would be a different category of serial killer, as there's multiple categories of serial killer. Traplore Ross is comparing King Von to the Zodiac. What? Okay, so this is like the type of true crime thriller movie type of serial killer, the psychosexual kind. He's putting King Von in the same category as Dahmer and the Zodiac and all these weirdos. And I'm saying King Von was not a serial killer at all. He was a gangland assassin that was motivated by revenge because of the pain from getting his friends killed. It's a get even
King
thing.
Von was on a mission in 2012 to get revenge for the friends that he had lost to the gang. Losing OD, Platoon and White White turned him into a demon, he said. So he would spend every day in the streets of Chicago stalking his ops.
I wouldn't say he's a serial killer. I would, you'd say he's a gang assassin, he's a hitman, he's a gangbanger.
So
but
King Von was actually a gangland assassin. He wasn't a psychotic serial killer like Trapler Ross is trying to romanticize him as. And so this is really interesting that he made this clever little hit piece, is what I call it. This is a hit piece. Trapler Ross does not like the people that he makes videos about. And you can tell by the way he talks about them. Listen to how he talks about Little Dirk.
TF, that stands for Order the Flights. You should have ducked those charges. Now Goldilocks is facing life. This is my 2 cents. How you sign a serial killer and think you're gonna make it to the end? I shop for ops, I shop for flights. In Dubai or Italy, Dirk and Von were evil twins. Now he's facing death penalty.
So Trapler Ross is celebrating the fact that Dirk was looking at the death penalty, and he's like calling him Goldilocks and saying that he's evil and stuff. So I think that's so interesting that he calls himself a fan of theirs, but at the same time, he's like celebrating their demise. Trapler Ross is not a fan of King Von or Dirk or any drill rapper for that matter, or anyone that he makes videos on for that matter. He hates them. He wants them all locked up, but he doesn't want that agenda out in the open, so he hides behind this, oh, I'm a fan, man. Oh, I love King Von. I love the drill. Ever since I was a young lad, I was a fan of the... He's not a fan. He just needs people to think he's a fan so he doesn't look like a total culture vulture, okay? He's not a fan. How could you be a fan of someone who you think is a serial killer, a sadistic, murderous, psychotic serial killer? How are you a fan? That's like me saying I'm a King Von tat on the back of his fucking leg. So the true psychopath here is Trapler Ross, okay? And this doesn't make any sense. And Math Office says, how could you be a fan of a serial killer? And Trapler Ross's answer to that was, hey man, I got a Von tattoo. I'm a fan. What? That doesn't make any fucking sense. And so this sort of changed the subject. It was exactly what Trapler Ross was trying to do. He's trying to just like be like, look at my tattoo, man. Look, I got a tattoo. That's seriously alarming. He's got King Von, and this is a badge of honor tattoo. This is what put him on the map. King Von put him on the map, so he got him as a badge of honor tattooed onto his leg. What a psycho. So at this point, it is 100% obvious to me that Trapler Ross was not a fan of King Von or drill music at all. He was a fan of true crime. Now, I do anticipate a lot of people out there disagreeing with me on this and saying that King Von was a serial killer and then he meets the criteria, blah, blah, blah. Well, I want you guys to know that I actually called the FBI. What? I called the Federal Bureau and I got the Behavioral Analysis Unit and I spoke to an FBI agent and I provided all the details of this, and she told me that I couldn't use her for the record, but she told me that no, King Von would not be considered or investigated as a serial killer, okay? So, and that's from the FBI, and if you think I'm wrong, call your local FBI office, ask them to put you through to the criminology department, leave a message, and they will call you back, okay? And this is exactly what I did, and she told me that no, this wouldn't be a typical serial killer investigation, and that these were targeted gang-related homicides, and even if King Von was classified somehow as a serial killer, it would definitely not be the same type of serial killer that people think of. When they think of the word serial killer, they think of Dahmer, they think of Zodiac. And that's what Trapler Ross is trying to do. Trapler Ross is trying to put King Von in the same category as these psychosexual killers, okay? So I just wanted to put this out there because it kind of bothers me a little bit that no one really challenges Trapler Ross on this. It's just like everyone just sort of agrees, like, oh yeah, it sounds good to me. No, it doesn't sound good to me at all. What? So this...
And I know you have it. I agree with point and shoot with this one. You know what I'm saying? This is just dumb. Like, I'm not really sure what Trapler Ross has going on. I'm not really a big Trapler Ross fan. I don't consume too much of his content. And what I do see about Trapler Ross, he just seems like a white person trying to profit off black people. And he's always with Adam 22, so that kind of that kind of solidifies that. But with that all being said, man, if you ain't showing no love to Point and Shoot, make sure you show some love to Point and Shoot. Hit him with a like, hit him with a comment, hit him with a good subscribe. Make sure you show some love to his page and get him with a good share. All that wooty bam, all that wooty bam. You feel me? You feel me? We up out of to the next one though. Trapler Ross, just chill out, bro. Just chill out. It's a lot of things you could do in life. You ain't got to do too much. It's a lot of things you could do in life. Too much ain't got to be on that list, big dog. That being said, man, red dot to the left, you know the rest, and it's free. I've been waiting until he's free. We go.